week of preparation, so I can't wait to see what tweaks these teams have made for round 2 of their fight.
That's right, 5 games already, 5 games of picks and bans to refer to, and of course Kha'Zix from the play-ins was very, very effective, and we saw TSM pivot in that BO5, and that's why it's banned away here.
Yeah, the last 3 games of the series, even though TSM was blue side, they banned Kennen, Ziggs, and LeBlanc. We just heard Dumbledore talk about Stark's Gragas, which actually ended up being first pick for Gigabyte Marines on blue side in their last game of their series. So those are the priorities we think for Gigabyte Marines.
I actually like this ban here with the Galileo. Looking around his solo queue accounts, Hauntzer has been playing it as well. Pay some respect to it after what we saw in the first game, and it is a tough tank to deal with up in that top lane, especially because Stark was one of the guys who kind of crumbled towards the end of that best of 5. Levi and Optimus, those 2 guys, they managed to succeed in almost all the games, and Gigabyte Marines will of course try and get them in very good matchups in that mid and jungle.
Yeah, Gigabyte Marines also banned Shen in pretty much every game of their last series, but I'd love to see a Lulu or a Karma ban here to force TSM into throwing that at them, because if not, then TSM can just trade the shielders back, and that's what I think we're going to end up seeing.
So, Gigabyte Marines actually say we remove the #1 AD carry for WildTurtle, we target him. Now that you ban away our Ziggs, they probably know already from that best of 5, they can actually punish that bottom lane here from TSM. Now, Karma, Lulu, as you mentioned, are the ones we're looking at. If you don't pick one of them here, you actually risk the other team getting both, and then you set up these like jog-and-walk compositions that are so tough to deal with. But we don't actually know if TSM wants to play that style, because they don't really play around the AD carry.
Yeah, and that's actually a big question for TSM as we predictably see the Gragas picked first once again for Stark, is what type of game does TSM want to play? They played so much through their solo lanes in the regular season, but the meta has changed substantially. Nautilus and Maokai and Camille have all been nerfed pretty heavily, and those were Hauntzer's champions that he would try and control the game through the top lane, so they have to find a new way to play. What's interesting, they do have a chance to do Karma and Lulu if they wanted to.
Yeah, would obviously show that one of them will go to mid lane. You don't really know which one, but it won't change a whole lot for matchup. So they take the #1 pick for them, Lulu. Very contested in the NALCS finals, was first pick multiple times as well. Just overall fantastic pick when it also comes to late game team fighting. And we know when you play against the Gigabyte Marines, you will get some of these late game fights because they will consistently
and mid game and early game.
Fine, mid game, pre game as well. Like, it doesn't matter. They will just try and force something.
Yeah, Lulu has been the highest of priorities for North American LCS teams for a number of weeks, but I also feel like Karma is such a good match into it from what we've seen, and not to mention the team haste that Karma can give Gigabyte Marines, since they are such a playmaking team that likes to play so fast. It's a great enabler for them, so I don't think the Lulu pick early actually has a huge amount of value for TSM, since Karma did go over to the other side.
It's a trade. I'd like to see Varus here just so you don't get you don't get pinched on AD carry pool, so I like this one here from Slay. You have to accept the fact that your bottom lane is obviously not the main carries on Gigabyte Marine, so give them a very safe matchup. But also later on they can add a lot of utility to your team, because we are expecting Optimus and Levi to play these very explosive champions that won't maybe add a lot of CC to the team.
Yeah, 1 game played on Karma mid for Optimus during the play-in, so has the opportunity to flex it if wants to. But where do TSM and Gigabyte Marines look now is Phase 1 is rounding out, and we look towards Phase 2. That's a surprise for the Nautilus.
Yeah, a lot of teams would pick an AD there and then wait for the top lane bans to fall through, priority power pick the top lane, and then maybe last pick your mid, but TSM just go for the Nautilus, which was the most played for Hauntzer throughout the regular split. 14 games on that champion.
Yeah, I feel like they do this so they can pinch jungle pool now. So they can simply say, like, we have a support top and jungle, you do not have a jungle pick, so we can start banning away key picks from Levi, who was such a fantastic player in the play-ins. Kha'Zix, Graves were the 2 best ones for him, so I'm really expecting Kha'Zix to come in as the second ban for TSM. And then we might have to see Elise in the jungle, and is then, of course, very focused on him actually snowballing lanes, more than necessarily being him just running around getting 10 kills.
Yeah, it would definitely push him towards Elise, but it also means WildTurtle will get attacked, not only in-game, but in the pick and ban phase right here. They have not picked the marksman. Ashe is already banned, Bear's taken, Caitlyn. They can take out Ezreal after that as well.
Where does WildTurtle go after that then? I mean, LeBlanc is now taken away, so it's actually going to leave Kha'Zix open for Levi if he wants to go that route. Not a lot of magic damage on the side of Gigabyte Marines, but Optimus can lock in one of many mid laners that he's played this tournament already.
I saw a lot of Lulu from TSM in the actual final. Even when they had the choice of picking like Although AD carries like Israel, that is considered a very high tier pick from a lot of guys, that is now removed. So Lucian is on the tables. There is still the chance of like this little mini Joggamore comp if they want to play that style and go for something like an Orianna mid lane. But again, that would put focus on WildTurtle. Twitch is another one that kind of fits in that bracket. When you have Lulu, it does open up for some of these late game AD carries.
Yeah, and whatever they want to pick in the mid lane is still available if they do that. So Twitch can be considered a very high tier marksman, but the laning phase will be tricky.
And of course, the moment Twitch appears on screen, of course the Brazilian crowd is going to go crazy. BRTT, the quintessential Twitch player here in South America, and is locked in for TSM. Gigabyte Marines now have to lock in their last two champions.
Yeah, and it's very important that Bjergsen gets some counter pick as well, because Optimus is a man who plays a lot of assassins. And it's very hard to blind pick assassins, because there tend to be like ways the other team can then draft against it. Lulu is also on the other side here of TSM to maybe shut down a potential Zed and his kill pressure. Syndra is banned away, so Orianna would normally be like the go-to blind pick, or maybe Talia in a situation like this.
Currently, TSM's composition is very set up for team fighting. So you would expect something like Orianna, especially into that Ahri.
I'd like to see Orianna here from them. I think it's a really good matchup in the mid lane for Bjergsen. Hovering around different things. Don't normally want to talk about them, but you never know with this MSI. So far, we have been surprised in pick and bans with the priority on certain picks. They actually do
Lulu mid.
Nami, so it's going to be Lulu mid for them.
Wow. We thought there was definitely the possibility, but I have to wonder, if you're going to do this, why not pick the Karma early and throw Karma mid or bottom just because it's a higher class support, and then you deny that from the other team, but they still try and pull the switcheroo at the end. So much of this is now on WildTurtle's shoulders to not fall behind in the game.
You have a tank top lane, so Hauntzer is not going to be the man getting the kills. You have a support in the mid lane, so Bjergsen is not going to be the man who's getting the kills.
Svenskeren also.
Yeah.
Two of the more underperformers of TSM are now the focal point of TSM's damage, so they have a lot of trust in them to go with this team comp.
And the last time that we saw WildTurtle play Twitch on stage was summer of 2014.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Did he win?
And there's a lot of pressure. I'll find out for you just a moment as a stats team.
I thought you were just going to ignore it and keep going. That would have been smart.
No, I'll find out. The stats team
He won.
backstage is helping out, so thank you for that one. So yeah, tell me, what do you think of this composition from TSM, Jatt?
Bold, for sure, in that sense, because it does not go towards their traditional strengths. Everyone looks at TSM as this solo lane focused team, and we've been looking at this patch, if you're able to get the shielders, as a bottom lane focused meta. So they have put their team composition towards the patch rather than the way they were playing for most of the split.
Yeah, and while Twitch will of course do extremely well in the late game with this protection, he needs to get past the early game. Varus Karma is a tricky lane for him to lane against, very long range, a lot of poke. And of course, like, you have these assassins from Optimus and Levi. They're not just going to ignore the bottom lane. They're obviously going to go down and try and visit.
Yeah, and traditionally, Gragas has actually been very good against protection compositions because he can break up the death ball with his explosive cask and then isolate people for things like the Ahri and the Kha'Zix to pull off assassinations.
Gragas is also very good against Nautilus if you max W, so I would actually like to see that change from start, because he didn't do that in the best of 5, and he lost that lane a few
Interesting
times.
thing, Gragas does well to protect AD carry comms, Gragas can do well into Nautilus, Gragas was, you know, pretty early on in the draft here, so it ends up benefiting Gigabyte Marines, and it's something that Dumbledore as well was talking about, saying we've come to expect. There is a brief pause on stage, ladies and gentlemen, as they're investigating some headsets from TSM. We'll keep you updated as we hear more.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm actually looking a lot at Hauntzer and his champion pool coming into this tournament, because he's played mainly tanks and then Camille in the NALCS, and Camille now has been nerfed so much we don't really see her anymore. Nautilus is a pick a lot of top laners don't really value very highly after nerfs to him as well. So the fact that he's actually picking it after seeing Gragas so early tells me really that TSM wants him on a tank where he can engage, something we have seen them have success with in North America, but it's not giving them any lane advantage for Hauntzer.
Yeah, but it's definitely not like this composition is unusable or bad. Looking at the Korean finals when SKT played up against KT Rolster, this is actually, I believe, their composition. I know it was definitely Graves, Lulu, Twitch, and Nami. I've just blanking a little bit on the top laner. It was probably Nautilus because it was Shen. Very close to that final game team composition, but something that can work, it just requires a really high caliber, high performing AD.
Yeah, having Bang helps when you run these kind of compositions.
So you're telling me that...
And listen, this is very much a redemption for WildTurtle as well, because he catches so much hate for his performance. He mispositioned heavily in the Gigabyte Marines series beforehand, but this type of faith and protection around him, it's his time to perform.
Talking about redemption, talk about pressure. The man hasn't even started the summer splits. He's already been replaced. You know, the return of double lift is something that TSM have been very outspoken about. And now we need to see WildTurtle. How can he wear those carry pants? Just to give you a quick update, TSM are reporting some electrical static sound in their headsets. So the technicians and the guys on stage are busy investigating that. Once I get another update, that ping makes me think it's resolved. I believe we're loading up for the rematch of the GPL's Gigabyte Marines taking on the North American LCS Team Solomid.
Talked about WildTurtle and the pressure on him. Not really a lot of pressure on the Gigabyte Marines, but a lot of people who really want to follow them in this tournament here. Best of ones, aggressive play style, fast-paced, already taken games off the team they're playing now. I'm so excited to see what they can do against other teams as well at this tournament, because I think players like Optimus and Levi are actually really skilled mechanically, and they work well together, and that's a very deadly combo.
Yeah, and many people, based on pre-tournament expectations, expect TSM to be their easiest opponent. So if they want to start winning and picking up games in this group stage, Gigabyte Marines would want to start it here. They have already beaten TSM twice, came damn close to doing it in games 4 and 5, so definitely capable of taking down TSM.
No early game shenanigans this time around. Both of the previous games, we had the blue side running down river, trying to catch somebody out on the red side. And as it stands, the defensive positioning.
We see aggressive summoner and Optimus on the Ahri, very defensive for Bjergsen with the cleanse. Needs to respect the potential of a charm landing, and then he gets ganked as well by Kha'Zix. It's always the thing about Ahri. She is good after level 6 at setting up these ganks here, very good in these skirmishes, if she can engage first with charm.
Yeah, and talking a little bit more about the way Gigabyte Marines played earlier on in this tournament, they are so aggressive and so fast with their moves, but oftentimes, because they're so fast, they don't kind of account for everything. And as the series with TSM prolonged, TSM said they got better and better at reacting to those things. So very much this team composition from TSM looks like they are just trying to play defense against Gigabyte Marines' aggression for the first 20 or 30 minutes of the game before they just turn into that deathball Twitch team fighting composition. So you got to play pretty well and pretty clean in order to play defense for that long.
That's the main thing I noted down about Gigabyte Marines and their playstyle is they don't, like, you know, set up a slow push in the lane and then wait a few minutes and then try and, like, out-rotate you. They attack, like, 3 lanes at the same time. They're all just pushing super aggressively forward, and then they hope you break somewhere. And they create a pick, and they get a kill. And then suddenly you can't actually defend now because you have to defend 3 lanes, put your man down. And that's what really hurt TSM in the first 2 games, even game 4 in that best of 5. And now they should have learned. But their composition is very defensive, as Jatt just highlighted, and it can actually be difficult then to stop the onslaught.
Well, very, I think very favorable for the Gigabyte Marines to have these 3 lanes that could end up pushing well. The fan vote obviously in favor of Team Solomid. There's not a big surprise there. But TSM, let's see how well they respond to the blows and the parries of Gigabyte Marines. A team that's come over from Vietnam, come over from the GPL. They only dropped 3 games the entire spring split. They went undefeated in their series, 14-0. Absolute phenomenal performance in the GPL, and they showed up pretty well last week in the play-in stage as well. Let's take a look what Stark and Hauntzer are doing. Trading, very exciting. Gragas into Nautilus matchup.
We love the tank matchups. Stark loves his Gragas. Definitely the pick for him. Like, every other pick was kind of shaky. Yeah. See what he can actually do on this champion. I want to see just if he manages to get another win on it, if other teams just start moving.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's almost always drawing a ban for Kennen, so at that point, do you really want to throw 2 bans up at him, and it depends on the threat level of the Gragas. Levi,
there is a charm. Optimus not going to be in range.
Mainly a gank meant for harass there. Optimus had already shoved in, spotted Graves, knew that that gank couldn't be matched, so good safe harass for Levi.
Yeah, and I love those kind of ganks because he's pathing to the bot side anyway. That's why he has the Rift Scuttle and his
They should know Svenskeren is here, though.
Well, they were spotted onto Sven. Stark is going to body slam away, holds onto his flash for a very long time. Flash forward from Hauntzer. Dredge lies under the tower. The barrel falls down.
Are you crazy?
Tower.
Are you
what?
Do you really disrespect your top laner so much that you don't think he's going to flash that?
Just a huge misplay by Hauntzer right there. Svenskeren was hoping to interrupt body slam with flash. That didn't work. Then Hauntzer hitched after his flash and did not dredge line in the first place. But even then, it should be dodged.
Look at the damage down the bottom lane. Archie and Slay. Whoa! Here comes Levi. He hops in only to flash out. Screw it. Stark is going to teleport in. Gigabyte Marines.
Ahri's on the way.
They are going ham. Optimus is looking for a target. Biofrost is down. 2-0. Gigabyte Marines.
And this is exactly what TSM wanted to avoid by picking a defensive team composition, but they throw themselves into the top turret, leaving themselves completely open for the dive bottom.
We knew bot lane would get pushed under that turret, but as soon as the Gigabyte Marines saw a small advantage, they just executed so quickly. Gank for an early dive and a flash away from Levi, and then of course the TP from Stark here, which actually would cost him a lot of minutes. So I like the dodge here, the block from Svenskeren on that body slam. It is at the end though, doesn't do too much, but here, Hauntzer, you cannot disrespect. You can the enemy top lane this much.
Hauntzer could have thrown the dredge line to force the flash in the first place.
Exactly.
Huge mistake by Hauntzer in the top lane. Then you look bottom. Actually kind of miraculous that WildTurtle didn't die here, since essentially it was a delayed 5-man gank. He stealths up, sneaks past Stark, and then paths up away from Optimus. So yes, Biofrost died, but for a 5-man gank, that's usually a double death if you're caught in your turret. So at least they get out of it with only one fatality in the bottom side.
Right.
Still huge misplay overall from TSM.
Worth adding, TPing in this early for just one kill is actually not worth it at all, obviously for Stark. Would have hoped he got both, that's why he went in there in the first place.
What about the psychological damage that it has done to TSM? A team that is now already 600 gold behind, 2 kills behind, mechanical misplays. Is that what Tilt is made of? We will find out.
We will find out, but we know that TSM wants to play defensive with their comp. They want to scale. They do not want to fight this early. And they've been forced into some of them and picked some of them as well.
That was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, good dredge line by Hauntzer, preventing himself from getting knocked back, but even so then misses the last hit on the cannon minion. A lot going wrong for Hauntzer. Talked a big game right before the NA Spring Finals, performed at a very high level throughout the majority of the NALCS split, but has not performed well internationally. Yeah,
and not performing well on his signature champion for 2017. Is at least even in CS right now. Matched in items with Stark, and teleports are somewhat equalized. Down the bottom lane, Tower First Blood easily secured here by the Marines. They're going to extend that gold lead. A couple extra shots will take it down.
And this is, of course, the Twitch lane not being very strong early on, but also due to that early play from the Gigabyte Marines to the bottom side. I really want to highlight how Optimus is just giving up his own lane pressure to roam to the bottom lane. Look at the river. It is blue control wards. It's been a massive issue for TSM. Also in the NA final against C9, they give up the river control, and that means the enemy team can move between lanes unnoticed. And it becomes harder and harder to read where they are and when you should react.
And especially with the bottom turret already down for TSM, Gigabyte Marines have an opportunity to take a huge bite out of this game. Mountain Drake is up. They want to get early pressure going, but Stark takes turret shots.
Hauntzer is going to pull Stark in with the dredge line. There's no support anywhere else, and Hauntzer decides not to fight through the minion wave and chase him down.
Even so, the crowd getting very loud as Gigabyte Marines continue 2,000 gold lead at 8 minutes.
And Stark took so much damage before.
Round 2, he's got ultimate up.
Dredge line this time round connects. Svenskeren takes the turret aggro. The turret shot takes him down though, and it's a 1-for-1.
Oh, I saw the big play for a double kill right there for Stark. But anyway, he gets a 1-for-1. That's enough for him. TSM, again, they're trying to make plays, but they're running headfirst into a wall.
Absolutely. Watching Svenskeren here, comes in, is at full health. He takes turret aggro first. Hauntzer was low. Svenskeren pretty much dies to mostly the turret. Doesn't have flash. Don't know how he was expecting to get out of there alive. They get technically more gold overall because of the assist, but not worth it. They could have had lane pressure, maybe even the turret, but instead they throw themselves at Stark once again, and he picks up another kill.
So Lane swap here from the Gigabyte Marines after already killing the bottom tower. They want to keep the pressure going right now. They're not going to let WildTurtle sit and scale on his Twitch here. Already going for that second push. Remember, guys, Gragas is fantastic at wave clearing. When it comes to these swaps here, he can go down, set one Q into his range minions, you know, set another one right after. That wave is gone. Use his ulti defensively. There's a massive wave bot lane, but no one is there from TSM to pressure the Gragas early. He already got one Q on.
Exactly. Look at the position of Levi versus the position of Svenskeren. There's dive threat if Hauntzer tries to defend. There is not dive threat if Stark defends.
I'll take a look at that. We'll keep our eyes on the gameplay. Game 1, TSM has all season long had troubles winning games. Pick it up in game 3. We'll pick up that moment in Stark. We'll be able to escape, but tower is still under pressure.
But this is really good by Stark because he's actually stopping TSM from hitting tower. They're spending time hitting him while their minions die. And once the minions are gone, you can't take that tower. So you can see TSM on the bottom lane right here. They're not actually getting down the tower fast enough.
Yeah, and they're doubling down on this push. Gragas actually canceled his teleport. I thought he was going all the way in. Now he's trying to defend.
Oh, Stark's going to run for his life. Got the ultimate available. Will split up Sven and Biofrost.
Still defending, though.
Gigabyte Marines are on the top inner turret. Now they're starting to chip it away as TSM finally will get some additional time, but they're waiting for the minions.
And this is the second time the bot lane minions have died before taking down tower. This is just Stark defending and TSM trying to put pressure on him.
And this only extends their advantage. Bjergsen went up to the top lane to try and defend that turret, therefore losing minions in the mid lane, and Stark forced the flash. Svenskeren.
TSM, what is going on? They finally get the tower down.
Why are you afraid?
Let's take a look at the top lane. Slay and Archie. They don't have any support from Levi. He's still a couple of camps away, distance away, but this is going to make his way up. This is going to end up being a 2-for-1 tower trade. Slay, Archie, and Levi going to take it down.
Yeah, and I think Deficio just asked a great question. Why are you afraid of Gragas in that situation? There are 3 members of Gigabyte Marines in the top lane. Ahri is showing in the mid lane. Gragas has no ultimate. What's he gonna do with that body slam? Yet Svenskeren flashes away and loses even more pressure for TSM.
Yeah, the only answer could be he thought Kha'Zix would be there, but you then still have time to flash after. You're not just gonna get one shot instantly. Anyway, flash gone from Svenskeren. Top lane tower's gone. Hope is fading. We're only 11 minutes in.
All right, WildTurtle, level 6 to level 9. Stark, though,
He has
only got the cowl to
He's
work
using
with.
the minions.
His ultimate is going to come up. The minions are helping him out. WildTurtle summon a heal. Tidal wave as well. Minions helping out. It takes a 3-man TSM gang to take down Stark.
That's still the most important person on TSM to get gold. So as ugly as that looked, that was a good overall play for TSM, closing the gold lead to 2,200.
All right, Bjergsen's going to throw down the cleanse to escape. Dragon is started by TSM. Levi and Archie relatively close by. This is not a very quick Dragon. WildTurtle wasn't there.
TSM does have the TP advantage in this situation. Optimus' Ahri is actually top lane and Hauntzer has teleport, so TSM can try and force around this objective.
All right, it doesn't feel like they want to, though, and I want to go back to those numbers we talked about a few minutes ago. TSM, in game 1s of the NALCS, went 9 wins and 9 losses. And then they went 10 wins and 1 loss in game 3. Definitely a team that ramps up over games. You don't have a game 3 against Gigabyte Marines today. You don't have a best of 5 like you did in the play-ins.
And that's another reason for these, like, you know, low ratings of TSM coming into this tournament, because it is all PO5 in the start the first week. Bjergsen, no cleanse.
Oh, this is very scary. Svenskeren's taking a lot of damage. Wild Growth brings him up. The charm is flashed away from, but it's Levi that gets the kill into Svenskeren. Jungler on jungler. Slay's going to go down to the mine. Hauntzer sends it flying. It's a 2-for-1 though, as WildTurtle also dropped in the back end.
Gigabyte Marines much faster to that fight. Now it's a wave clear struggle in this mid lane.
All right, Hauntzer may get rooted in place by Archie. He does indeed defensive flash away. Aqua Prison slows the Marines' assault, and now the tower is the focus for the GPL representatives.
This is what we talk about in Champ Select. TSM, they want to wait. They want to be defensive. They don't want to fight. But now, because you're behind, you can't actually stop the Gigabyte Marines from forcing these fights.
They picked the wrong team to try and wait against.
That is true. That is very true. And then they made some really bad plays as well.
Yeah, if you're going to wait, don't continually dive the tank in the top lane and give gold over. TSM is in such a bad place right now. And you mentioned their trend of not doing well early in series. It is showing through once again right here in this starting game. Svenskeren still doesn't seem to have the right feel for this game. He seems to always be moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, because they're jumping in before Nautilus even arrives for the actual fight. So there's no front line against so many damage dealers on the side of Gigabyte Marines. But it actually all started with a mistake I do not see often from Bjergsen. He walked down to try and kill a ward in the river at the little brush without having any backup or any push in his lane. That's what started the engagement with Gigabyte Marines, and that's what happened in the best of 5. They look for you when you're trying to clear out vision, when you're a little bit, you know, unprepared, and then they strike on you. That actually set TSM so far behind at the start of that fight, and was part of the reason for them losing.
We talked about that Dragon a little while ago in favor of TSM. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of the pressure to secure it. TSM instead get the top tower in exchange for Gigabyte Marines securing the first Mountain Dragon of the game. That's a good sign for the Marines when they've got more towers to knock over a Baron soon enough.
Yeah, they'd already killed 4 turrets before getting the Mountain Drake, so now it's all about how much time can they get on those interior turrets and how much farm can they continue to starve, because it's one thing to say play passive and get to your items on Twitch. Blade of the Ruin King and Hurricane is probably as far as he needs to go before he really turns online, but he just completed his Blade of the Ruin King, and Gigabyte Marine's assault is relentless.
A very large part of playing the passive style and trying to scale into late game is that you try and trade. You try and cross map. So when Gigabyte Marines are forcing something in the bottom lane, you try and have the push going for your team in the top lane, and you end up just not going for these fights or risk them, and you try and trade towers. When you're this far down already at 15 minutes, against a team that has so many ways of starting a fight, that becomes impossible to do.
Well, you talked about this far down. I'd like to let you know this is the largest gold lead of 15 minutes today. WE had a smaller lead over Flash Wolves than what the Marines do over TSM. A little over 3,400 gold, 4 towers to 2. Look at the setup here for the Marines. They're waiting for a target to jump on top of.
Yes, again, this is where you can see it. TSM cannot trade anything on the map because every lane is getting pushed in. They just have to try and defend under a tower, and that actually sets up Gigabyte Marines to get damage on turrets, but also look for that one engage.
Yeah, TSM really should be looking to wave clear right now, whereas Gigabyte Marines are waiting for any window to try and get the pick. Chip damage is totally fine on this turret. They get the mid lane turret down, then Baron becomes very easy around 20 minutes because of the control. Hauntzer continually tries to find the pick and doesn't get it.
Gets caught by a charm, the chain of corruption as well. The barrel from Stark splits up TSM, and the Marines do not have enough damage to take Hauntzer down.
That is the setup for TSM if they ever want to take the fight. Is Hauntzer in the front, trying to absorb cooldowns, damage, everything it can. And then WildTurtle pops up out of nowhere, trying to unleash, but he's level 9 with the Blade of the Ruin King. He's not really dealing that much damage.
Optimus is hoping to get a pick in the side here. Hauntzer, will he go in again?
Oh, he's fishing.
All right, there's the dredge line. Optimus over the wall. He's got Biofrost, but the tidal wave slowed down the Marines. Hauntzer is dropped. Levi takes a couple of tower shots as Optimus dove too deep. The rat-a-tat-tat spray and pray from WildTurtle has got himself a kill on the board onto Optimus. Flash forward. That's a double kill. Looking for Archie, but he's able to escape.
So TSM actually comes out okay on that, even though Hauntzer engaged before Svenskeren was there. One thing I want to point out is I do not like Stark's build at this point in the game. Mercury Trends' Spirit Visage against a Graves and a Twitch. He cannot tank the turret either, but let's watch this fight one more time.
Yeah, very good engagement. Optimus gets a kill on Biofrost, maybe hoping to get more damage on Bjergsen as well, but at this point here, you've done your job as Gigabyte Marines. You can start getting damage on the tower, and that's where Stark goes in too deep. The rest of the team gets caught behind him as well. And the chase here is good for TSM because it's WildTurtle picking up another kill. He used Flash, note that down for the next few minutes and the fights we will have.
Stark still has Flash, Optimus still has Flash, Slay still has Flash. Anyone can potentially pick off WildTurtle. Bjergsen does have rank 2 in the Wild Growth, but that's about it.
Really stressed faces on the side of TSM. They're still down 3K as we're getting closer to the 20-minute mark. TSM need to buy a lot of time. And they need to wait for those opportunities because you can expect Marines to dive you. You can expect Marines to jump at you at some point, especially with this team composition. And Team Solomid, as long as they outplay in those team fights, they can still claw this game back.
Now, the very hard thing for them is the team fights for the next 10-15 minutes will be on Gigabyte Marines' terms. They are going to be the team who will set up the Baron once it's alive, with the control wards, with the vision, and force TSM to move in and face check against all the pick potential on the Gigabyte Marines. We have to go much later in this game before it's actually TSM deciding when to fight.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that this is only a 3,800 gold lead, based on the number of plays that TSM has thrown away in the top side, or the level at which Gigabyte Marines has been outplaying them. And I think some of that is with Gigabyte Marines sacrificing so much to get those advantages and not necessarily CSing at a high level, but double TP's coming. TSM is actually forcing.
All right, Hauntzer's looking for Slay. He's already used that depth charge. TSM a little bit split up, and they've killed Archie. That's one of the shielders gone. Chain of Corruption's going to slow down TSM's re-engage, and Optimus is on the back end. He's been exhausted. The damage is there. WildTurtle gets a kill onto Stark, and Team Solomid are fending off the Marines.
That ended up being a very good engage from TSM. From Hauntzer with the teleport here. Gigabyte Marines were trying to set up that siege on the tower, and they did not expect TSM to fight back, because you saw how split up Gigabyte Marines were.
Yeah, 4 kills now onto WildTurtle, and without Flash, he easily lives through a fight. Optimus never really seemed to find his way into this fight. Let's watch it one more time. Hauntzer finishes his teleport in. They catch Archie, isolated from the rest of the team, and the smoke screen, look at the top of the screen, the smoke screen delays Optimus' engagement, and by that point, Optimus doesn't want to fly into 4 people.
And Levi never even entered the fight. He was waiting for Optimus to join, and then he could follow, and they could try and get a kill. TSM gets the setup here, and as we just talked about, how it's Gigabyte Marines who's supposed to dictate the map, dictate when to fight, when you have this advantage early on against the scaling comp. The North American team, but this was actually a really good engage and a good setup from them, and 4 kills on WildTurtle.
And that fight was dictated by TSM's proper initiation, but also because Optimus couldn't find a target. Looking at the TSM team comp right now, no magic resist on WildTurtle, Biofrost, or Svenskeren. No lock-in anywhere to be found. Optimus just completed Lulu and Zeko. He is power spiking so hard right now. He finds a charm onto someone, they are dead. And that's what Gigabyte Marines need to do.
But Levi is actually looking to take away jungle camps and trying to hide around TSM's jungle here, which gives over the dragon. So Mountain Drake
TSM's going to want to fight this.
Well,
all right, Gigabyte Marines, they're not looking for an engage. Spirit Rush has already been used by Optimus. Stark. Use that body slam to escape. Okay, Dragon for inner turret. And now the Marines are moving top.
Yeah, but Gigabyte Marines should be fine taking a fight here. It's a no-flash Twitch. That's the man you want to get to. You have been the one pushing multiple lanes all game long, so them moving back in here is not a surprise, because they're actually looking for that pick.
Turtle has also gone Phantom Dancer instead of the Runettes Hurricane we expected. There's the pick!
Oh, get done, but he survives! Bjergsen with the wild growth, manages to stay alive. Levi and Optimus, the double bubble is so much trouble for the Marines. TSM and the Marines are trading, damaging cooldowns, but nobody is dead yet. Hauntzer flashes away with his life, finally goes down. One more onto from Slay.
And again, here we see it, Gigabyte Marines, they want to fight. They obviously don't want to let TSM just sit here and scale up. So they got a mid lane tower, they now took a kill as well. They get to back away, reset the whole thing, and now Baron is, of course, alive and an objective you can play around.
Look at the gold lead, nearly 5,000 in the advantage for Marines. WildTurtle looking for Levi. There's not enough mana, so Levi has to flash over the wall. But he manages to survive, doesn't have that flash for what could be a crucial team fight in the coming minutes.
Good patience down the stretch there from Turtle, but watch this fight one more time. Bjergsen barely gets alive because of his cleanse. And then here, WildTurtle actually finds a good open. Imagine if he had Runettes Hurricane for those few hits. He would have done a little bit more damage because the Phantom Dancer wasn't necessary here. But then he gets split off. He chases the kills up top, whereas Hauntzer's trying to CC down bottom, and TSM gets split. Hauntzer then has to pretty much give his life away, and no kills fall for TSM.
I hope to see multiple control wars now from Gigabyte Marines, because it's all about setting up near the Baron, force this protect the WildTurtle comp to come face check through their own jungle, not having proper vision, not knowing exactly when you can fight if you're TSM, and then you get jumped from the left, from the right, by Levi, by Optimus. And they have the control wards down now. They've bought a lot of them. They're sitting up near this Baron. They know they can use it just to bait a team fight. They don't actually have to kill the Baron. They just kill whoever comes to stop them.
Well, that's what the Marines are setting up for now. TSM, by the way, went behind in gold at 20 minutes on 9 wins and 10 losses. And TSM, they might be walking into a loss right now. Stark is going to go over the wall. The charm finds nobody. Hauntzer's on the front line, and so is Stark. Chain of Corruption slowly going to spread. They're not going to lock anyone else down, and the Marines pulled the trigger too early.
Gigabyte Marines did so much right until they did everything wrong with that initiation. Stark should not have body slammed Hauntzer. He should have found the squishy. TSM was completely blind, and they get away with it, with a turret in the mid lane as well.
All right, Levi throws down the Void Assault. Not going to find another target. WildTurtle spray and pray still available to him. But TSM, they take their third tower of the game. And this gold lead, as the game continues to progress, means less because WildTurtle is 4-1-1. Starting to work towards that third item, and Twitch just gets more terrifying the longer this game goes.
Yeah, we can really praise Gigabyte Marines for a lot of the early game moves, the aggression they have, but some of the macro here is really lacking from them in a game like this with that big advantage against the scaling composition as well. That's where you should be able to consistently get more and more gold and then use that lead to take a Baron later on. But here, they knew they should set up around the Baron, weren't ready to actually get a few kills when TSM efficient. Optimus jumped in, didn't hit his charm, and as you highlighted, Jatt Stark, which is hitting on.
Yeah, that was such a power play for them. There were no blue trinkets up for TSM, as well as just sitting on a control ward that gave them total knowledge. Absolutely agree, and as QuickShot mentioned, the longer this game stays around 3,500 gold, the less 3,500 gold matters.
Yes, that is definitely true. Now, good thing we did see before from TSM was a tip also for a lot of people in solo queue and everything. If you are in a situation where you have to walk into a Baron to try and stop people from taking it and you can't really see them, push the mid lane first and then walk from the mid lane into the river towards the Baron. It gives you many ways to escape. You can go to the left, you can go back towards the middle, you can go to the right into your own jungle, and you don't suddenly get flanked out of nowhere. So that was a very good thing, and the Gigabyte Marines couldn't get any kills due to it.
TSM at 25 minutes, still trailing, but showing that they can make the right calls at the right time, and I think very importantly, they can win the right fights. That's something that they've done multiple times over the last few minutes. And you know, coming into this game, the expectations was this was number 5 and 6, that neither of these teams would make playoffs, potentially. And making playoffs, playing for that number 1 seed, that is something that North America has had the luxury of for many, many years when it comes to the World Championships.
Yeah, Bjergsen mentioned that the way you feel about a team coming in actually doesn't matter. It is how you perform on the stage. But unfortunately for TSM, they are not performing on stage, and a lot of the expectations are showing themselves true in this game. A lot of bad decisions, not the best cohesion, but in the later game, they are starting to pull together here. Still a long ways out if they want to win this game, but they haven't lost it yet after a horrendous early game.
You see the same thing again. Gigabyte Marines, they set up vision near the Baron, but TSM just goes mid and pushes out mid. And again, now they have a way to actually enter the Baron pit without getting caught left and right. And they're using this to stop Gigabyte Marines.
This time, though, Optimus is behind them, so they're going to try and get the flank.
Back towards the mid lane if you're TSM here, because now it's getting risky.
All right, Stark finishes off the teleport. He's the one that's caught by the dredge line. Levi's coming in from the side. Levi's looking for another stealth target. Wild growth onto Svenskeren, buy some time. The chain of corruption misses yet again. Hauntzer's the target. He's going to flash over the wall. Luton's Echo bops him on the head. That dredge line was so close, and nobody goes down.
That's one of those dredge lines you hope misses after you throw it, because he would have flown himself into his death, but they moved straight into Optimus as they did later on in their best of 5 series and avoided the pick. Now Turtle goes aggressive.
He does indeed. Stark's got some support. Slay sends out the piercing arrow and the shields come down from Archie. The Marines do not lose Stark and walking into some dangerous territory.
That was a very risky engage from the North American team just before, walking into that jungle where they didn't actually know if Optimus was still in there, where Levi would be on the map. You also saw it couldn't actually open up with WildTurtle on the first target, Stark the big tank. He had to just stay still for at least the moment. Still a lot of fights to go in this game here. It's gonna be exciting because we're getting to that late game point for this Twitch here. 2 items QSS now. Last Whisper probably coming in very soon.
Man, getting very excited. I mean, WildTurtle, he's got QSS just picked up and the pickaxe. Dragon secured by Marines. But the problem for me is Marines, they've just been trying this Baron game for several minutes, and both sort of big attempts have fallen flat. So what is the next step? Do they only play around this Baron, or now I guess without teleport, they're even in a more difficult situation?
Yeah, what's interesting is because they haven't been able to extend their lead, the straight-up team fight is probably in TSM's favor right now if they do a straight 5v5. So now, instead of being able to brute force things, Optimus has to be very sneaky and creative in trying to get in the spot to land a shot. Because he can still one-shot someone if he gets it, and that's kind of Gigabyte Marines' way in right now. But they've lost a lot of control because of their failure to pull off a successful play in the last 15 minutes.
With their lack of TP, they have to just give up the Baron area due to Stark sitting bot lane and wave clearing. This is now perfect for the team that wants to avoid getting flanked, wants to avoid getting surprised, because they now have the control. There is, of course, still this Ahri sitting near the top lane with 3 fully completed items and a control ward she can hide. nearby, but no one is actually going up there yet.
We talked about the items on Optimus. Look at Slay as well. Hurricane, Zeal, Lost, Whisper, and Blade of the Rune King. In contrast, WildTurtle still relatively far behind, but has been pretty comfortable. And Optimus, he's not been able to find those picks. He's not been able to assassinate people for a long time. Levi's going to do his best. Where's the chance? Going to go a little bit wide. No, Turtle! Caught Turtle! He survives a few seconds longer, but TSM lose 2. WildTurtle had Flash, and he was still caught.
Flash, QSS, both available, and he ends up going down. It can't happen for TSM composition that the AD carry dies first.
That is the pick that Gigabyte Marines was waiting to have happen, and that's also why so many people are hesitant to think of WildTurtle in this protection position, because he does get caught out and because it happened right there.
They actually saw Ahri walk by a ward near the blast when they were pinging Ahri. Fight started a little bit further down, and TSM could have walked away. Use the flash defense. Let's see. So this is a good engagement for Levi. They know Optimus is coming. It's a charm into 3 people.
Max range.
That just hits WildTurtle. So, to be fair, when you are on top of 3 other people and you see a max range charm, not a lot of players will just instantly flash that one because you don't actually know who's getting hit.
And it is harder to realize the thing you can fault Turtle there for the most part is the delay on the QSS, because when that charm lands, you almost have to instantly QSS flash backwards, and he did not. He had a small window where he would have avoided Stark landing the body slam and would have kept WildTurtle alive.
Unfortunately, WildTurtle did not. So Gigabyte Marines, they pick up first Baron of the game. A little under 30 minutes. They're going to be able to start sieging up now multiple lanes. Stark will get his teleports available as well. It's going to apply multi-lane threat. If you look at the mini-map, Optimus up top, Stark down bottom, and the 3-man stack in the mid lane. This is just good, clean Baron usage.
It worked so hard for the Baron before. It was actually an opening for TSM to get back in this game if they could just keep defending and buy time. But now with this Baron buff, and the fact that 3 lanes getting pushed down, it gets really difficult again.
Problem is, TSM opted into a defend until we're strong enough to fight strat, and it fell apart early, it fell apart mid, even with some great team fighting and some good decision-making to punish Marines, it simply wasn't enough.
And this is where they have to continue to make a stand. They're down 7,000 gold with the Baron. You can see Gigabyte Marines trying to run. The wave clear is very difficult right here, but ultimates like that missing do leave the window open for TSM to try and make something happen.
I felt like every single skill shot went wide. Stark still pushing bottom, Levi in the mid lane. Look at the towers, 50% top, 50% bottom, and Stark's about to knock over that bottom inner turret as well.
Yeah, it's small things all the time. Like one skill shot missing from Gigabyte Marines buys a few seconds for TSM to then try and defend. But once one of these turrets will go down and the inhibitor follows, then it gets real difficult to sit and defend against super minions and the push. They're going for a fight though.
They are indeed. Slay's going to flash away, gets caught up by the depth charge. Archie actually flashed. Stark is
failed engaged by TSM, and Gigabyte Marines
Archie's alive!
Steady. They're getting all the turrets!
How the hell did Archie survive? He's run all the way around behind Team Solomid. Tidal wave comes down. Dredge line onto Slay. Collateral damage as well. Slay will go down. TSM are buying some time. No inhibitor has fallen yet.
Ahri's back in base. Gigabyte Marines did not want to re-engage after Slay got caught. They just gave away a few kills now to TSM. Yes, they got some inhibitor turrets. No inhibs died yet. Few more kills over.
These are the types of games that you can heavily regret. Gigabyte Marines have so many stacking advantages, 9 turrets, Baron, but they keep giving things away right at the end. Watching this one more time. The ultimate from Hauntzer, he doesn't go for that kill. Archie buys so much time as he runs away.
I love the escapes we're seeing today. You know, 957 did it, Archie did it, walked around here, rejoins, you know, Stark and the minions. But at this point, if you're Gigabyte Marines, you step away. Slay walking near the base gate is so greedy with no summoners. Your Ahri's back in base, so Stark, why are you going in?
Totally missed call. Either Optimus didn't tell his team he was going back, or no one heard him, because if he's going back, you never body slam in that situation.
And if you're an AD carry with no flash, do not walk by the enemy base gate like that.
Pro tips.
You will just die.
Oh, that's exactly what happened to Slay. All right, we rejoin the action, and Svenskeren is looking for Archie. Chain of Corruption is going to start.
Whoa, WildTurtle flashes in!
WildTurtle's gone forward. Big corner up, survives long enough to get 2 more kills for TSM. Here comes Optimus. He's looking for Biofrost. He'll find him with the Spirit Rush. Now Levi tries to find WildTurtle. He gets dropped. The GA is popped. Stark and Optimus looking to get damage across TSM. Very good depth charge, but Bjergsen's running for his life. Stark will look to get shut down. The Contaminate takes him out.
Everyone has always been telling WildTurtle, don't flash in. Turns out, you just need to have enough shields to let him do it. He flashes in, they kill 3 people, only lose 1, and take the Ocean Drake, but they are still in a tough situation.
Team Solomid have exposed inhibitors in 3 different lanes, but they're winning back-to-back-to-back fights. And the Gigabyte Marines are now starting to falter underneath the pressure. TSM sieging the bottom inner turrets.
Oh my god, this game has been absolutely crazy, honestly, from the early game advantages to the Gigabyte Marines. Some of the team fights from TSM and the amount of missed opportunities from both teams, kind of throwing it left and right and catching it as well. Like, it means we still have such an even game, despite no inhib turrets. But again, there are no super minions because they haven't actually killed an inhibitor.
Yeah, these types of games do not inspire confidence for the rest of the tournament, but these teams are under so much pressure to perform here and now. Stark teleports in the mid lane. TSM sees that, tries to start a fight.
All right, let's go for it. Optimus gets a charm to WildTurtle. This time it's good, but the damage is too high. Redemption's gonna come down and heal up the Marines. The Marines get 2. Death time is 50 seconds, 40 seconds. The barrel holds Bjergsen in place. He's already used the wild growth. Another body slam connects. So does the chain of corruption. Bjergsen is down. The Marines have 3.
That could very well be it. 4 down, 5 alive. No turrets in front of the inhibitors. Minion wave on its way in the mid lane. Gigabyte Marine's gonna try and take it home.
We got 20 seconds on WildTurtle right now, but there's real no support for him. Inhib mid lane going down. Minions on the way as well. 2 Nexus turrets in front of Gigabyte Marines, and a great first game.
Gigabyte Marines, they're looking for the finish. Down in the bottom lane, Optimus is making his way out. Levi's hunting Biofrost. He wants to take down the support. Gets caught up by the Aqua Prison before leaping forward. Nexus turret number 1 is down. Nexus turret number 2 is down. The Gigabyte Marines are looking for revenge. WildTurtle gets a kill to Archie, but look at the Nexus. Look at the Nexus. The Marines take down TSM.
And this is not an upset. These 2 teams were so even in the play-ins. Everyone knew that these would be 2 of the teams who really need early wins to try and make top 4. So it doesn't matter how you win. As long as you win this game as the Gigabyte Marines, then you've done everything you needed to do.
And you can tell it's not an upset by the way the Gigabyte Marines responded after that win. Yes, they're happy, but it's not the crazy flying out of the chair, hey, we won a game. No, they expected to win this game. They came in hot, they pulled off their ganks, they kept the pressure up, and it took them longer than they wanted it to, but they still leave victorious.
Difficult faces, difficult situation for Team Solomid. Their Game 1 performances, their out the gate ability to play, continues to play the #1 team from North America. All split long. They've been slow starters, and what's going to be 10 best of ones don't have a lot of time before you find the right gear.
And you have to wonder for TSM how they can respond to this as well, because they did not want to lose to this team. They did not want to drop 2 games to them in the play-in stage. Now that they've dropped in the main stage, they have a lot of recovery, mental recovery to do.
And it's so exciting to see Gigabyte Marines. Now, great start taking down TSM for the Marines. They play later today against SKT. I'm excited to see if they can surprise SKT because, look, in best of ones, this chaotic play style, it can catch teams off guard. I expect SKT to be able to respond, but what about everyone else? How will everyone else respond to this style?
I think that's the bigger one here, because we saw the Gigabyte Marines get the advantage, but then kind of struggle to really use it and really close out. That's obviously going to get punished by SKT, but I can see other teams at this tournament also fall behind and not actually be able to come back against these guys.
Man, it's so exciting to see the GPL representatives and how well they played. The Marines, they scored that revenge kill against Team Solomid. Send it to the analysts for a closer look.
Thank you very much. Quick shot. Gigabyte Marines bringing the all-time record against TSM to 3-3. So, of course, we're going to get that tiebreaker later in the week between the 2 of them. But, I mean, they've got to feel good coming back in and striking, you know, kind of fear into TSM's hearts with that win yet again.
And honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, TSM had a ton of time to prepare. They played them close before, and I don't think there's any more excuses, right? The better team won this game, I think. I think that the Gigabyte Marines outplayed them. I think TSM made way too many individual mistakes, and you can't do that against a team this level. Well,
and if we just look at champion select, right? I mean, a lot of the things that we were saying going in, we have reservations around Sven, we have reservations around WildTurtle, and then they opt for a protect the ADC comp with a Lulu mid, Nami bot, and the Nautilus front line to no avail.
And we come back to predictions. We go all the way back. Dumbledore was not joining us for this post-game segment.
Well, I had to get him off the desk because he's making you guys look bad.
Only one to predict TSM, and that's because, sorry, only one to predict Gigabyte Marines, and I think TSM had to be the percentage prediction because I said, okay, they can go back. They have analysts. They have a lot of support stuff. They'll learn. They know how Gigabyte Marines play, and yet they draft in this manner. It's frankly just unacceptable to see them draft losing lanes. They have to run Lulu mid with cleanse just to get through the laning phase because they want to have pressure somewhere. And they play into the hands, because how do Gigabyte Marines win? Why do they have to ban Ziggs? Because they love pushing aggressively and having Levi path very aggressively, and TSM played into that. So it's just unacceptable to see TSM not learn basically anything, put all the eggs in the WildTurtle basket, which if it's any other team with that draft, if SKT has their draft, you're like, okay, GG, they've won this game. That is a meta comp.
Has any draft.
That's true.
That's also true. Frost, get in here.
It's a meta comp for any team other than a team that really does not play around bot lane.
Right.
None of TSM's success in spring was playing around WildTurtle and bot lane.
Yeah,
Very much so.
Just to piggyback off of that, it's just so frustrating when you watch a team, and we know TSM, it's all about their solo laners, and when they completely try to reinvent the wheel about how they're going to beat Gigabyte Marines, a team that they were already struggling to contest in their traditional ways, it's just so random to me.
I mean, to be fair, that you can't put this all on Turtle.
Oh, absolutely not.
Hauntzer, you know, Sven had an awful dive at the start. It felt like they wanted it way too much, and you know, despite the community maybe not having faith in Turtle, the team obviously does, right? They are here at this tournament. They're taking it very seriously. They're drafting around Turtle because they have faith in his ability to carry the game. And, I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about.
But there's execution errors left and right inside this clip.
Yeah, Svenskeren fails to flash into a body slam, and then Hauntzer tries to make the play, even with flash still up on Gragas. So it fails, and they keep pathing around the top lane.
Round 2, wait. And the fact that this is so close to being a double kill as well, the cast just slightly timed off to the other side, but Stark playing out of his mind on the Gragas and proving that he was worth that priority pick.
And what we didn't get to see there, because there were mistakes from TSM in that initial tower dive, what we didn't get to see is the immediate TP down bot lane from Stark to then make that advantage into twice as much, right? Getting a second kill in the bot lane and pushing them towards that 7-minute turret take.
Well, while it was, I think, a good play to make, the fact that they only got the support kill, to me, like, I don't even really think it was worth it. You have 5-man bot. They get a support kill out of it. They did lose pressure in some of the other lanes, but it speaks to their mindset, right? They're continuously making plays. They're continuously trying to get advantages, and I think it did work out for them throughout a lot of the game.
I don't know.
I would contest that, but I want to hear what Frost has to
here's
say.
the thing. Like, you just got the kill up top lane. You know the top lane has to back because he's low health. The fact is he basically dies, trades the kill, respawns, then immediately teleports bottom, knowing that the enemy top laner is going to be walking back. Yeah, there's a potential that he could try to teleport to the tower and match them, but you're already driving the tempo because you're getting the superior rotation of your mid jungle down there as well. I think it was a great play from Gigabyte Marines, and I think it proves that they're not just a threat to TSM, but they're actually a threat to the other teams in the tournament. Even Team WE and their victory over Flash Wolves looked really inconsistent around mid-game and finding those correct decisions, and Gigabyte Marines don't look inconsistent. They look like they know exactly what they want to do.
And this desk has been very TSM framed. We're not rewarding Gigabyte Marines, but the reason why it's like that is that Gigabyte Marines didn't surprise us. They played the same game. They played to such great success a week ago, and the fact that TSM didn't learn anything, let them basically get comfort in most roles, and then roll them over in the same fashion, even with a bit of a fight back in mid to late game, that's the part where I really draw the line and say, okay, TSM, you should have done better.
And it was pointed out by the casters, Gigabytes get themselves a lead, but still did seem to struggle with what to do with it through that mid-game. So we have to take a look at the clutch kill, rather, that earned them that 30-minute Baron. Let's pull that one up. This one brought to you by Acer.
This is a little bit hard to watch. So Turtle just picked up a QSS. Watch that charm. No QSS until the charm has actually already ended. He has his flash up the whole time, and this is what I'm talking about as far as individual misplays for TSM. There were so many throughout the fights that, you know, Gigabyte did play very, very well, but they also did kind of rely on TSM making so many individual mistakes, and they just kind of served the game up to him on a silver platter.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of individual mistakes if you want to move forward in this tournament. But as was mentioned, I mean, Gigabytes, they played and stuck to their style. They're still finding success with it. I want to echo the same question the casters had. What will other teams do in response to Gigabytes? And is this same kind of style going to allow them to be successful against teams like Flash Wolves and SKT?
I think the scariest thing about them right now is the fact that it's not just Levi and Optimus anymore. It was Stark that was really going off in that game on that Gragas pick, so they're showing that they're not just like a two-trick pony.
All right, well, we've heard a little bit from the analysts. Now we got to hear from one of the players. Levi is about to talk to us about his team's big win, so let's meet back up with Shox.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, here joined by Levi after that amazing victory over TSM here in Rio. And, well, the first thing I want to ask you is how much of that was fueled by revenge, obviously, and knowing that you almost beat them at the Plains?
Thì chúc mừng em là mình chiến thắng được TSM. Mặc dù là lần trước mình đã thua, thì em nghĩ là cái trận thua lần trước có phải là thúc đẩy em để giành được trả thù được món thù này không?
Em nghĩ một phần cũng là do trận thua lần trước đã thúc đẩy bọn em có thêm động lực để thi đấu cái trận thi đấu này.
Yeah, I think big part of it is the loss last time. It gave us the motivation to win this time.
Yeah, and that you guys did, and I think alongside, or not talking about the revenge or those stories anymore, you guys have been fantastic throughout play-ins. You qualify for here, you win your first game here, and it's looking like you're a great contender to move forward. How likely do you think it is that you guys get that top 4 spot?
Thì bây giờ mình đã thắng được trận đầu tiên rồi ha. Thì sắp tới mình sẽ đánh nhiều trận nữa, thì em nghĩ là mình có khả năng để mình vào được top 4 hay không?
Thực sự thì em nghĩ cái khả năng của bọn em rất là thấp, nhưng mà bọn em sẽ cố gắng hết sức để đạt cái mục tiêu là vào top 4.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but we're going to try our best to get into top 4.
Well, there is a very tough match coming up. You're playing SKT, the current world champions, and I do know that your name, Levi, comes from Attack on Titan, and Levi is known to take down Titans all on his own. Is that what you're planning to do against the Titans of SKT, just take them down solo?
Thì được biết là cái tên Levi của em á, được lấy từ chuyện Attack on Titan, đúng không? Thì Levi là chuyên gia solo giết người khổng lồ, đúng không? Thì em nghĩ là em có thể giết được gã khổng lồ SKT không?
Thực sự nếu mà ai theo dõi cái bộ truyện Attack on Titan thì biết là Levi là nhân vật của em thì sẽ chết dưới tay một gã khổng lồ này. Em cũng không biết được gì.
Yeah, so if anyone watch Attack on Titan, spoiler alert, Levi is gonna be killed by a Titan, so don't know what's going on yet.
So that's maybe prediction also for what might happen in the game next. I hope that spoiler alert worked for everyone, but thank you very much, Levi, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. And we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more action.
He holds on to his flash for a very long time. Flash forward from Hauntzer. Dredge lies under the tower. The barrel's down. Are you crazy? Are you what? Scary. Svenskeren taking a lot of damage. Wild Growth brings him up. The charm is flashed away from, but it's Levi that gets the kill into Svenskeren. Jungler on jungler. Slay's gonna go down. All right, there's the Dredge line. Optimus over the wall. He's got Biofrost.
Yeah, I just died instantly, like 1 second.
Chain of Corruption's going to slow down TSM's re-engage, and Optimus is on the back end. He's been exhausted. The damage is there.
Yeah, keep going forward, keep going forward.
Where's the charm? Going to go a little bit wide. No, WildTurtle! He survives a few seconds longer, but TSM lose 2. WildTurtle had flash, and he was still caught. Looking to get damage across TSM. Very good depth charge, but Bjergsen's running for his life. Stock will look to get shut down. The Contaminate takes him out. WildTurtle gets a kill to Archie, but look at the Nexus! Look at the Nexus! The Marines take down TSM!